Sharkery is a legend unit in disguise. I'm telling you, this unit is busted, and I actually think it's pretty fair to use that word. This character feels stronger than some of the legendary characters I've been using, just because of just how simple they are to use and they get results. So first, welcome back with the Plat. We're talking more Girls Frontline 2, and we're going to be doing a build for Sharkery here. Overall, a character you definitely should be building. Is going to be good on a lot of fights and can easily plug in to pretty most teams, and is just going to be very good because her damage is good, not the best in the game or anything, but it is very good. I'm not going to be able to show you the damage numbers that much because I'm still building it because I did a different team, but her stability damage, bro, is bonkers. So let's kind of go into her kit really quick, and then we will take a look at her fortification stuff. I mean, just to kind of get an idea of when she really comes online. Then we'll look at the neural helix, and we'll kind of look at her equipment as well. So basic attack is a basic attack. Range of 8. I think that's all medium weapons. Like 8 range is big. The only one that has higher is like Nurgle. I'm thinking of the wrong game. Nemesis. So what's her passive? Kind of what she's built around here. At the start of the action, you gain a mana. When Overburn is applied to an enemy, that you gain 1 point of mana. Your critical rate increases by 30% against targets with Overburn. Critical damage increases by 3% per buff effect on this unit. So if you can give her a couple buffs, she's going to get just 15% bonus crit damage. She's almost passively going to have 30% crit rate because getting Overburn is a very core part of her kit. She has one ability that does it, but the bunny girl, she also has ways to do Overburn, so it's not that actually hard. And it is honestly just pretty darn important. Looks like mine's already level 2 actually. And level 3 is when it gets really good, but we'll talk about that in a second. So her build around ability is basically this zoom in mechanic, and she's going to have a couple different ways to get zoom in. And when she does it, it gives her two more stability damage when she attacks and 20% more damage. Now, this is just an insane. 2 more stability damage is great. 20% damage is great, but this also stacks up to 2 times. So you're getting 40% damage and 4 more stability. Now, this does get used. This buff gets consumed after you do it. So it doesn't stay on you, right? After you attack, you will lose the zoom in buff. I don't even think it says that. Triggers 1 time, yeah. So after it triggers, you will lose the zoom in buff. You also give yourself damage up, and that doesn't actually scale up, but you actually do get the extra 5%. So I think zoom in was originally 15, and then it goes up to 20, unless it's at 25 and it's just not updating. But basically, she's going to give herself a zoom in, and then she is going to give herself extra command. This is 3 energy, but it's her only ability that costs anything, and she gets 1 every turn, right? And then she'll get a second one every turn if she does Overburn or someone does Overburn. Overall, this is a very good ability. It lets you do zoom in and just basically lets you do more damage. It's a simple ability, but it gets the job done. Now, both of these, I don't even know which one to talk about. They're both so important. Which one you use is gonna basically depend on the scenario, but they're similar abilities. So you attack 1 target for 150% damage. This is physical initially, but then after you attack, you gain zoom in. So you don't get the zoom in before you attack, you get the zoom in after. So if you zoom in, attack, you will still have a zoom in at the end of combat after you attack, which can be good, but it can be bad. You might want to just go for the double stack of zoom in because of something we'll get into a little bit later. But if the target is inflicted with Overburn, you apply 2 stacks of Flammable. Flammable is another buff that just makes it so they take 2 more points of stability when they take damage, and you recover stability when you deal damage. And then when they take burn damage, you have to deal burn damage, but then when they take burn damage, a stack falls off. But again, you literally steal 2 of their stability and give it to yourself. And that part happens before the attack, and then this turns into burn damage. So you're going to immediately activate the Flammable. So it's going to be, normally it's 3, but it's actually going to go up to 5. And then if you have zoom in, it's actually going to go up to 7. And if you kill the target with this ability, you're going to get 2 stacks of zoom in. So you'll be at 2 full stacks for your next turn or your next attack. Overall, a very, very good ability. This was what I thought her best ability was out of the attacks. However, this one is insane, but I actually think that this other ability is equally as good or better. It kind of depends. We'll talk about it when we get to the neural helix aspect of it, but select the target, 8 tiles. You apply overburn, which is very important for 2 turns. Overburn is after that opponent hits the effect, they're going to take 10% of your attack in AoE. I believe this triggers at the moment they get it initially, because it says at the end of the turn. So I think it's after your action, but maybe it's after they move. It's hard for me to tell because sometimes that is one-shot things, or there's a lot of damage sources coming in. So it can be hard to tell exactly when this triggers. But 140% damage, so not as much damage as this one over here at 150%. However, this is always burn. And then if you're under zoom in, you get extra stability. That's not necessarily good, but I'm telling you, applying this overburn is really powerful. So those are our abilities. As you can see, pretty simple here. You're going to just get zoom in and you're going to attack. You're going to basically snipe people with your assault rifle. However, she really comes online once we get into the neural helix. She kind of changes her whole kit, but really quick, let's take a look here. All right, you can see here, increasing the duration of overburn is pretty good. Damage up 1 is pretty good. If kill is scored, gains an additional stack of zoom in. Like, these are all fine, but segment 4 is reasonable, the one that's going to help her damage out the most. And then, so like 4, 5, and 6 are all pretty good, but number 6 is really the only super good one, which is unfortunate because it's of course at the end. But every time your turn comes up, you get a stack of zoom in. So meaning you're pretty much always going to be at 2 stacks because you do this, and now you're just at 2 stacks. And if you have 2 stacks and you go and you do this, you're more likely to kill the target, and then you're going to maintain having 2 stacks. And in fact, one of them will even fall off. Even if you don't kill someone, you get that stack at the end, and your next turn comes up, you'll get that second stack. So it's just like a flat up 40% damage increase or 20% damage increase all the time, and stability. So it is very, very good to get her up, and she's luckily not a legendary unit, so it's going to be pretty easy to do that. Also, I do love that I actually thought these were hands. I'm realizing now they are clips. She is ready to reload. But when we get to the neural helix here, normally I would start at the beginning, but we're actually going to go to the end here really quick and take a look at the high level ones, and then we'll come back. When using the active skill boiling sound waves, if a kill is scored, gain 1 stack of zoom in. I'm like, who cares? I don't feel like that's very good. When attacking a target with overburn, restores 20% of your max HP. I think this is reasonable. It takes a little bit of, stress off your healer. But I'm not super in love with these. I honestly probably end up going with the zoom in just to try to get max stacks all the time. But I would honestly potentially run both of these anyway, because I think they don't stack, but I think it'll increase the turn duration. But at the start of this unit's action, if there is an enemy unit with overburn on the field, you gain Blazing Assault 2 for a turn, which is just 15% attack. Not just, I mean, that's good. This one, it depends if this is better or worse. This is probably worse, but once it's going, it's always going, because it has to be at the start of I think it's the start of the turn. It might be their specific action, but basically you could have someone else do overburn, but I think it doesn't work because obviously I'm not this far yet, but the way it's wording applies to me that you basically, when your turn comes up, if someone has overburn, you get this for a turn. But it might just mean before she attacks if the target has overburn. When using an active skill Perfect Rising Tone, which is a good ability, if the target has overburn, you also are going to get this for 2 turns. So instead of 1 turn, it's going to be 2 turns. 15% attack buff. You might even want to use both of them. Probably not, probably just this one. But then you come over here, get 3 points of mana at the start of combat. That's whatever. But this one here, this is her best ability, and it actually transforms the entire character, and you get it early. And I don't know why you get it so early, but it is so strong. When an enemy target within range is affected by overburn, you perform one instance of wise support. This is just a follow-up attack. It happens after overburn is applied, she gets to attack. It deals 80% attack and 2 points of stability damage to them. This could be triggered up to 3 times per turn. 3 times is a lot. There's only 2 characters that I know of that apply overburn. So 3 times per turn at this stage of the game, might as well say infinite. Because it's like actually hard to get it. I actually don't know a way to trigger it more than 3 times per turn, even if like it would let you. So this is insane. Now, what's a couple of important things here. This ability can be bad in a very rare situation where you're basically just not aware of it, where it will, if you use zoom in and then you end your turn, or you use this and you end with zoom in, and basically this triggers, this wise support attack will consume the zoom in. You'll get the effect of it, but if you don't want to, because you were gonna try to get 2 stacks for next turn, this will get eaten up when she is reaction firing. However, that's like a minor downside. That is not even really a downside, because it means it's actually equally an upside, because you might want it to trigger anyway. But what it doesn't say, but I guess it's just implied, when I was testing her before making this video, is whenever an enemy target within range is affected by overburn, you know what? That triggers with her own ability to apply overburn. If she uses this ability, she gets to follow up on her own attack and do another attack that does another couple stability damage. It's actually kind of like insane. So this is, and then if you combine this with like the hair, Kralik, then Kralik at the end of her turn can apply overburn to 2 targets, and then she could just attack 2 different targets. Where'd she go? She could just attack 2 targets. I know where she's at. All right, there we go. Whenever Kralik basically ends their turn. So this ability is actually kind of crazy. It's so good. I mean, her ability to do stability damage is insane. We're gonna show you it. I'm gonna show you an ideal situation. Not an ideal situation, but we're basically gonna show you how much how much stability damage she could do. It is going to be a team kind of meant to support it, right? So it's not going to be like, maybe you're not going to get quite these results, but the idea is to give you an idea of what is possible with this character. So as for weapons, right, it's pretty simple here. You're just going to want to use her main weapon. I forget what it's called. The modular rifle. Whenever you use 3 points, which is conveniently how much your ultimate costs, the target damage of the next active skill is increased by 10%, so it's a little bit of a buff. And then if you have full HP at the start of your turn, you gain a random buff for a turn, and again, that works with your passive. It's not like an insanely powerful synergistic weapon, but it is definitely reasonable. If you have something that's like better, you could probably do something like more interesting with just some sort of ultimate weapon. As far as attachments, I actually do not recommend ballistic boost. I just happen to have it, and it's reasonable right now. You're gonna want the fire boost. If you look at, all the effects, she does burn damage. This doesn't always do burn damage, but it effectively will always do burn damage, probably. And so you're just gonna want to do extra burn damage. I don't think this counts as physical, right? This does, but when it converts it to burn damage, it doesn't count as physical damage. So you're just going to burn damage. All the other effects are not that good. But let's actually take a look. Her most synergistic character is Kralik here, and that's because Kralik also does overburn. At the end of the turn, AoE, 2 targets get overburn. Now suddenly she is going to follow up attack with her ability, but she also then doesn't have to use this. But again, if Kralik burns 2 people, she follow-up attacks them. You could still overburn a 3rd target and do it because it activates 3 times per turn. But if you don't want to, you could still use this because they will have overburn. It will apply flammable. You'll do the extra 2 stacks of flammable, do the burn damage, get the zoom in after the combat. It's just incredibly synergistic. The other character I'm going to show her with in this video is going to be Nemesis, because Nemesis is we're just going to basically use characters that help us break stability. And Nemesis has an okay stability breaking booster with the Prophecy of Morning. And then I am going to be using Suomi here, but it's literally only for the action support. But we're going to show you here. So the most obviously fire teams, but what's so good about her is that as a standalone unit to break stability, she is just good. She is very good. She's one of the best stability breakers in the game. And she is definitely going to be the lead of like my secondary team. Right now I have a very synergistic team with AoE damage. But as far as like a secondary team goes, a team that I'm going to use to tackle maybe single target bosses, she is going to be on that team hands down. No cap, I believe is what the kids are saying. So I want to go into a combat really quick with you guys. It was actually difficult because I had to find a combat where I didn't just win immediately. Like, no joke, like I had to go through combats. She kept killing everything, and mine's not built, right? She's like level 25 with like a level 25 weapon, which is my account's at like level 30 31 or 32 right now. So this boss is 21 stability. I basically did this for like 15-20 minutes, just kind of messing with stuff. So we could show you basically how it works. But now that she has this thing where she will automatically follow up, I don't even think it shows on her thing, but she has the ability to follow up attack, right? So if we just do something simple like this, we bring Kralik out here and we just end our turn, they're going to do embers, right? Burn this target, and then you're going to follow up. And so even just that's 21 to 17. All right, yeah, that's something, right? But we can also come back here. Actually, let's cancel that. So 21 to 17, and now if you just attack yourself, this will also apply overburn, brings it down to 4. And if we bring this up, now you actually zoom in. You have 1 stack of zoom in, and you're gonna do this. This will bring it down to 1, and this will bring it down to 4. So, but the thing is, when you bring this down to 4, they also get 2 stacks of flammable, so they'll still have a stack. So if they had even more, you would want to do that one. But this one will bring it down to 1, right there. With 1 attack, that's 1 attack. And look at, they're not weak to fire. Yes, they are weak to the medium weapon, but I mean, come on, everything's got to be weak to something. But if they were weak to both of these, that would be way more stability damage. And if they were weak to fire, or you could apply a fire weakness, suddenly that again is way more stability damage. And the damage is fine too. It's like, this is just, she's not built for this right now. And remember, Kralik didn't even attack. If Kralik would have done her attack, it would have, like, we could probably do the exact same thing, right? I don't even know if I need the Suomi. But if we have you come over, if we have you just come over here, you do 1 point of stability damage, right? Because this will do, it'll do overburn, it'll do 2 stability, and then you return to where you were. So, well, now actually Nemesis did her thing, but now this probably just breaks, right? 11 goes down to 2. We bring this up. Bada bang, bada boom. And there we go. Right now they're broken, and that's with 1 attack. We did use Kralik that time, but without Kralik it was still 1 attack. And now you could, like, I was basically just doing this. I was like, kind of experimenting with how this stuff works. But let's say we bring you up here. Suomi doesn't even attack. You don't even attack. So let's just say we didn't use their actions, right? We were just maneuvered correctly. So you're up here, we have you move, you know, you attack someone else, but you end up here, like, because you could run away, use the quenching slash on someone, and then get teleported back here, and at the end of your turn burn this. And now, right, like, you could just, they're already dead. They're at 0, and this is not even using the zoom in, because I'll admit we have Nemesis here helping us out. That's kind of why I have them here, just to. But here's the thing, Nemesis, Suomi, these are all characters that are synergistic, but any character that just either applies overburn or will just kind of follow up on her attacks will help her put a little bit of extra stability. But this is a 21 stability boss, and we're easily breaking it, right? Like, with 1 attack. Yes, we are synergizing, but like, this is how easy this is. That is so easy. And if we don't use any support, like, at all, I don't even remember if we showed you without any support, right? I think we did. Well, we have Nemesis here, so 0 support's not going to be possible, right? But that brings it down to 8, which is with no help. You just go ahead and give yourself zoom in, and you go down from 21 down to 5. So that's 16, 15, I think 14 if we get rid of the Nemesis follow-up. But I mean, come on, talk about a house. And again, the damage isn't going to be super impressive. She actually is level 30 for me, but I just haven't, like, really, she doesn't have, like, all the stuff, right? And she doesn't have good attachments and whatnot. So her damage is good, but it's not going to be, like, game-breakingly powerful. That is something she does. But when it comes to single target breaking of stability on bosses, I mean, you're almost gonna find no one better in the whole game, bro. Absolutely a busted character for sure. A character I'm gonna start using a heck of a lot more. What is this? What does that plus do? Oh, here we go. You are not. Oh, that's your weakness. That's your weakness. I was like, you are not corrosion, bro. Out of turn damage. There's all kinds of. Actually, I didn't even know you could even look at those stats. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I wonder. Can I look? Is there base stats here? 542. I don't think you look at base stats because she's at like 543, but if I look at my top end, they're like 855, right? So if I can get her closer to that, like the damage numbers are just gonna go crazy. She's a boss killer, man. Absolutely. And that's all for this one, right? The video's been going on too long already. Anyway, much love. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Let me know your favorite character and what character you want me to look at next. Anyway, see you in the next one. Bye. On the rise, watch the views go.